Last August 3rd, Detroit City FC played a nationally televised game against the eventual Eastern Conference champion, Rhode Island FC. Ben Morse would put Detroit City on the board in the 77th minute of play after coming off the bench. However, Clay Holstead would tie things in stoppage time. Detroit comes away with a 1-1 draw. Today's the return of one Maxi Rodriguez as he wears the colors of Rhode Island. We cover it next on Soccer Night in Detroit.
Don't leave him alone. Don't let him shoot like that. Can Nate Steinwasser deliver? Of course!
Today it's a battle of eastern sides as Rhode Island FC comes to Keyworth Stadium to take on Detroit City FC. Welcome to another edition of Soccer Night in Detroit. Steve's with me.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. How was your week so far?
My week so far with a lot of sporting action on YouTube, like minor league hockey with the Pro and Power. Then, Coachella Music Festival. But hey, the day have arrived.
Yes, the day has arrived, and the day being the return of one Maxi Rodriguez to Keyworth Stadium wearing the colors of Rhode Island FC as they take on Detroit City FC. Right now, Detroit City FC sitting in third in the Eastern Conference thanks to the tiebreaker. Thank you very much, Lou City, for ruining that.
I know.
By the way.
Yeah, the last league game they had, we talked about a lot on Wednesday. The emotional 3 goals in 5-minute comeback to steal 3 points out of Phoenix. And then the tougher win against Westchester United FC in the U.S. Open Cup third round. We'll talk about their fourth round opponent just a little bit.
Yes, indeed. 3-1 winners last Wednesday right here at Keyworth. Maury Donor, Jaceel Cedeno with the penalty kick, and one Darren Smith with the finishing goal. The
5 goals in all competitions, league and U.S. Open Cup.
He's doing real well this year.
I said he was going to be spectacular. Once I read his resume from his export in the Finnish league, I knew he would be good, and I told you so.
Yes, you did, and he has acclimated well to the Detroit City lineup. Of course, the leading goal scorer for Detroit City FC.
Yes, and in the top 10 in the score. I said he would be the top 10 at the beginning of the season.
So, 5 goals in, quite a few games. Not too shabby for a Detroit City premiere there. So, but today it's Rhode Island FC. They've been struggling as of late. They've only played.
Yeah, you're right. This is the at this time last year they were still struggling. It was starting up not a record.
There's a couple losses in their form.
2 losses, 1 win, and a draw.
Yes, total of 4 points, sitting in 9th in the Eastern Conference.
Behind Indy 11-5, and brother, I can't believe I'm saying this after last week's result. Miami FC with 4. Oh my!
They're just they are tied in points with Miami FC.
No, 1 point ahead of Miami FC.
Oh, okay, that's right, because they did get 3 points in San Antonio, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's
San Antonio.
Yeah,
who figured.
Yeah, they were hoping for 3 points inside Miami FC, but then they stole 3 points and hit the highway with 3 points in the standings.
And answers or questions to be asked for San Antonio as of late, as they lost in their Open Cup appearance last week as well.
Yeah.
So we'll talk. Like I said, we'll talk more about the Open Cup later on. But first off, let's talk about Rhode Island.
Well, they have the stars, as you probably know. J.J. Williams, leading goal scorer with 2 goals. Although they have played 3 games, and Albert Dequa, he's back in the lineup. He took a rest from the Open Cup. Don't forget the goaltender of Coco Vegas, who led them to the promised land last year, winning the Eastern Conference title, and before losing in the finals. But wait a minute,
Clay Holstead too, who actually scored the equalizer here in stoppage time during the nationally televised games that was shown on CBS
last year.
Right here at Keyworth.
Yes, and Ben Morris,
midfielder,
yes.
A midfielder. He's got 1 goal and 1 assist for 7.12 rating on Bob right now.
Yes. And the best player is J.J. Williams, who is a great scorer. He proved his worth in the playoffs, led all playoff scorer with 5 goals. You know,
Noah Fusen, great facilitator as well for Rhode Island FC. No assists though this year. He's only got a 6.52. He's been struggling just a bit as well. But
the
main story,
big main story, and the main subplot of this entire day, we've been waiting for it since the schedule came out, and then our heart broken at the beginning of the year. Maxi.
Yes, Maxi Rodriguez returns to Keyworth Stadium, where he's honed his trade for, I'd say, a better part of 4 seasons.
Yes, and finished second place behind Sean Clausen in all-time goals in all competitions in all league, if you had NISA and NPSL. But yeah, he was a really great scorer here. But oh my, let me tell you, when
money talks and BS runs the marathon. But as Nino Brown would say from New Jack City.
Yeah, when I heard a rumor that he may have been leaving and maybe eyeing Rhode Island, I said, no, we're going to try to sign him, but unfortunately we couldn't. So, and it's going to be a weird feeling seeing him in yellow and blue.
It is going to be a weird feeling.
Very weird feeling.
It hasn't been the first time we've welcomed back or somewhat welcomed back players that have donned the city crest, whether it be coaching or playing as such. You know, I mean, a lot.
And by the way, Maxi is not the first player to leave for a new team, and it will not be the last. We have seen in other sports, in baseball and hockey, especially in football, when Matthew Stafford traded the Honolulu blue for dark blue and yellow of the LA Rams and won them a Super Bowl. And remember when he came back, oh my, the Booze Birds was there.
Oh, yeah. Boo them kids.
Yes. I remember Kelly, Mrs. Stafford was complaining. I know.
Yes. And
then don't forget the Rust Stander, or the Gold Standard, if you will. I'm taking my talent to South Beach. LeBron. Or the Rust Stander.
Who that guy? I don't know who that guy is. I guess he's in LA now.
Probably so. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Thank you again. Once
again.
Cheers. Our Fago toast for the afternoon here at Keyworth. Drinking on the job. Good stuff, though. Pineapple.
Oh, yeah. This is a safe one. We don't drink alcohol, and you can't drink alcohol while working on the job at any broadcast, potentially. So,
this is true.
We're okay.
Unless you're Harry Doyle.
Harry Doyle, okay.
Yeah, God bless you, Bob Euchre.
I know.
I know you're watching from above.
But like I said, this is not the first time, because we have been through players returning or manager calling. I'll tell you my brief story, considering that during the NPSL days, it was coached by Ben Pyramid. He was a
former assistant over at Michigan State. And he spent his summer months here at Keyworth Stadium.
Yes, and Cass Tech. Yes, you're right. And he was a great coach, a all-time winning coach ever in history. But he was at a point. So after after 7 great years, he left. He took an assistant job to Memphis 901 FC. We missed you, by the way. And we thought, we wish him the best. But little did we know, we went from NPSL to NISTA, and then that didn't fall apart. We came to the USLC.
And by the time we got to the USL Championship, Ben Pierman had taken the starter's job, or taking the head coaching job over at Memphis 901. So we ended up seeing Ben Pierman for the first time back in 2022.
Yes, you're right.
As an opponent for Detroit City.
Yes, and he was looking really nice. I tried to find a photo, and I'll tell you, the Northern Guard was ready, and everyone was right. And I treated like he didn't leave for another NPSL team. He wanted to elevate his game, so we did. But we went into the LLC, and it was kind of like one of those feelings that Ben Pierman, who still have family here in Michigan and all that, and he came here, and the Northern Guard were ready with a banner called "Fail Caesar."
Yes,
because remember when Ben Pierman always came, the Northern Guard and everybody say "Hail Caesar, Hail Caesar," and all that. And seeing him, well, considering he did reach the team when it was in the MPS, did reach the national semifinals, but we didn't win in penalty kick. We had the opportunity, but one of the balls hit the post. So it's fair play, and it was a really great game. It ended, I think, 1-1 or a scoreless tie. And then after the game, Ben Pierman, after thanking the referees and the players and all that, good game, he came to our section and he gave us an applause, gave us a flower. But here's the surprising one. He posed in front of the Fail Caesar sign.
Oh, yeah.
He got the joke.
Oh, of course he did. Of course he did. Good guy.
He's
Good
a
guy
very
in the
nice
room.
guy, yeah. And
Now coaching with Charleston Battery, and they've had success.
Too, They almost won the finals.
A couple years ago against Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, Phoenix Rising, and he took them to the playoff, but they lost to Rhode Island. They lost to Rhode Island
last year in the Eastern Conference Final down in Charleston. Yeah. And like I said, he was pretty much one of the first ones that come here.
Yeah.
One story I can tell is
go ahead.
Antoine Hopino.
Yes.
Came here.
Who led the league in Detroit City first year in 2022 as well.
Yes, and great player on the pitch, and pretty much revived his career here in Detroit. Yes. He left for Hartford Athletic in 2023.
Just to be in the coast with the family and all that. That's where he's from.
Yep. And pretty much, he was here for 1 year and all that stuff. Of course, the Northern Guard, we're going to be on his case. I was in the media area at the time.
All right.
And, got to be neutral, of course.
Yes.
When you're in that area, you can't.
Any journalist, you got to be neutral.
Exactly.
Right.
You got to.
If you're covering the hometown team, you have to cover it both sides, both ways.
Both ways of the story. I saw Hopino was coming off the pitch. He was being subbed out. I think he already had a yellow that day.
Yes.
In that match, and they subbed him off to the pass. He looked exasperated. I gave him a fist bump. It's like, hey, welcome back and all that fun stuff. But another guy that in the locker room, he was kind of the I don't know, jokester and all that stuff. And I guess there was a story about him in a fantasy football league.
Yeah, it involved when he was here. He was in a fantasy football team with some of the players, including one Michael Bryant, a longtime thrower with the team. Apparently, Bryant won his fantasy football league, but he didn't get paid.
He's in other words, it sounds like Andre Hopino. Or Antoine Hopino skipped town without making his
due.
Giving Michael Bryant his due. Give him his due.
And the Northern Guard was on it, literally. So
apparently, though, backstory aside here, Bryant did get his did get his suspect or his thing.
His reward.
He did get his reward.
The Northern Guard was on him saying, hey, when are you going to pay? He, in one point in the match, he said, I already paid him
already. And of course, like I said, that's one of the many stories. there's a million stories.
I know.
That we have here.
We have to talk about the ping pong incident.
Yeah, well, he had the ping pong rankings.
Oh, what was that?
It's just a players like to do things other than just practice soccer and all that stuff. Ping pong rankings. It's a build of team unity and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But half the time he would rank himself on the top of the list. On that, like I said, the stories that can be told here in lower league soccer, or in soccer in general, when you think about it.
Kind of weird.
It's kind of weird, but it's kind of fun that way too when you think about it.
But
it adds to the lore and all that stuff, and we can tell them for
decades
and days and years.
That's the reason why stories are that we can tell weird stories about Messi or Maradona or Pele or. On and on.
There's always an interesting story in lower league soccer.
I want to ask yourself, with this big game, we always say it's not about one player; it's about this game between two teams. I'm going to ask you this question: how do you think Maxi Rodriguez is thinking. I think he's feeling he's back. I hope he knows where the visitor locker room is. Well, what do you think he's going through in this?
My feeling is that he's going to treat it like any other game.
Any other game?
Any professional that goes into it, if you're going back to, obviously the memories are there.
Yes.
The memories will always be there.
Yes.
But
True.
You're taking this one game at a time, one match at a time. And I'm thinking Maxi Rodriguez is going to go out there thinking that, he's got to get 3 points.
Yes. For his team.
Or a point, because right now they're sitting in ninth place. They're outside the playoffs looking in at
early.
And it's early, obviously. For them, this is their 5th game of the year. For us, this is our 6th or 7th game of the year.
Yes, and they've been on the road before the construction of Center Bank Stadium in Pawtucket.
Which is opening next month. Well, in fact, I think aren't they hosting an Open Cup game?
Yes, Open Cup game. It got the New England Revolution, and by the winner of that game will host the winner of the game we were going to talk about. Yes, but so it's understandable.
Yes, so that new stadium opening up next month, matter of weeks now. Yeah. And Rhode Island's been on the road. It's always tough to win on the road, and Rhode Island has shown it throughout the throughout the year so far, and their overall, as I mentioned, their overall record in the championship right now is, you mentioned it earlier, it was a couple
4 points, 1-1-1
1-1-1. So they did they're opening because they were part of the top 8. Their opening Open Cup matchup was against Portland Hearts of Pine, and 2-1 victory.
Yes, 2-1 victory. Yes.
There.
They were most of their starters because they,
But grant you the 2 losses that Rhode Island has had. Lost to Charleston Battery, lost to Loudon United. 2 good teams, and they drew Phoenix Rising 2-2 and handily defeated the Oakland Roots by a score of 3-0. Of course, we all know
Oakland Stadium,
and we know of Oakland Roots struggles as of late. They finally got their first win of the year last week.
I can tell you how us fans are feeling. We know the Northern Guard will be on Maxi. We know that.
Yes.
I heard they're going to be at Tilfo based on that trust fall video. Which and if you,
I think we had that in the cold open, the trust fall video and all that stuff. So so a little.
But for the regular fans who remember Maxi, there will be McPhilly. He's not wearing the rolling gold anymore. That's well past him. He's wearing the yellow and blue. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of acceptance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, everybody will remember. He set his example here. 36 goals. All great for second of all time next to Jean-Claude Lawson. And I know it's a one game. It's his first game back. Mm-hmm. And the first game, just like Ben Pierman, after the game, after everything is done, he'll probably congratulate his teammate. But they'll let him give it forward and give a big hand clap to the home crowd and the Northern Guards and all that. So get that first game out of the way, and then in the years to follow down the road, it will be just like, hey, I'm back.
There's an old saying that we say around here, friends until kickoff.
Yes.
For 2 hours, we hate you.
Oh, yes.
And then after the game, we go along our merry ways and, let bygones be bygones at that point. Because, at that point, the 2 hours out on the pitch, that you're spending there, the fans are in a frenzy. It's all shall we say, I wouldn't say a show, but it's all about what's going on at the time of the match. Mm-hmm. And we know the Northern Guard is gonna be on them ad nauseum for 90 minutes. And once it's said and done, let bygones be bygones, wish them on their merry way, and then we move on to the next opponent.
The next league game or the next game, which would be Pittsburgh Riverhounds,
Yep.
And I have to say one thing. I've been doing this for the last 12 years since the beginning, 2012. I'm so amazed of these pro soccer players from the other side. We harped on them before kickoff and during the game and all that, but the high-level professional of all the teams, home and away, it's top-notch. They seem to block it out. Said, okay, go ahead. Talk all your trash all you want, but we don't care.
At the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's just a game, and it's just a regular season game at that. It's not the playoffs. It's not the the championship. It's not a cup competition type deal.
Yeah.
We just move on and carry on with our normal selves. And speaking of carrying on, there's a lot of games this afternoon. In
the USL.
A number of them right in that 4:00 window.
Oh yeah.
Birmingham Legion taking on the hapless Hartford Athletic down at Trinity Health Park.
I know.
Oakland Roots taking on Orange County SC. We'll see if they'll get 2 in a row. Phoenix Rising hosting Sacramento Republic.
Are they ready after the collapse their last league game?
Both clubs, you know what I mean. Both clubs are suffering some. It's going to be a tough battle there. I think Sacramento lost too on Saturday night, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I might be wrong on that one. Pittsburgh and Loudon. Pittsburgh's been hot so far this year, and
they won their first round.
And Loudon United on top of the table in the Eastern Conference.
This is going to be a good first test for Loudon. Actually, their second test, they lost against Lou City. Their only blemish of the year.
Yeah.
But can they handle Pittsburgh team?
Yeah, and like I said, right in that 4:00 window, there is a ton of games in the 4:00 window.
Yes.
And let's see, 10 games in total. 10 games.
And then
in
the
total.
second half in the 7:00 hour, League leading Monterey Bay against Lexington, the Battery FC against Indy 11, our foes down south.
Yep.
Could Miami do 2 in a row against North Carolina?
That remains to be seen. And they're at home at Pitbull Stadium for that one. Tampa Bay hosting Lou City. We know of Tampa Bay's struggles this year.
You're right.
Will Lou City keep up in the points?
That's going to be an interesting matchup. Could they handle Tampa Bay, considering, like I said, Tampa Bay? I think it's on the Galato channel or CBS Sportsnet. I can't,
and then the late game. There's only Colorado Springs is taking on El Paso Locomotive. The only late game tonight, Las Vegas Lights against FC Tulsa. Of course, we'll go around the sea for everything.
Yes.
We will be bringing you scores from the other games, however, on after hours. But we will go around the sea during after hours to show you the highlights of those matches as well. There's going to be a few spoiler alerts there.
I know.
Just to warn you for after hours.
Could we move on to the Open Cup? We talked about our victory against
we can.
Yes. And we got our second round opponent. We knew it would be either Chicago or New England, because remember, once the new team in, and this is the 16 MLS team, they can't face each other. Mm-hmm. So it would be us, New England or Chicago. And guess who we picked?
We ended up getting Chicago Fire, which means a return to SeatGeek Stadium. SeatGeek Stadium. The last time we were there was back in 2021 in Mesa, taking on Peter Wiltz
and the Chicago
House. And there were break dancers. There were all kinds of stuff. I think we outdrew the Chicago House fans that day. Sam and I made the trip down there for did the train trip and did the day out in Chicago. Good amount of Northern Guard supporters.
Yes.
Came down for the trip as Detroit City would come away with a victory on that afternoon there. And it'll be the first trip there, but now this is
team.
I'm not going to say this is for real, but this is for real, because Chicago Fire 4 times they have won the U.S. Open Cup. Their coach, somebody that is quite familiar to U.S. soccer folk.
Who that coach is?
Greg Berhalter.
Oh, okay.
The former coach who got let go after Copa America.
Yes.
Last year, and then of course ended up being replaced by Mauricio Pochettino. He was the coach of the U.S. men's national team, and now he's got a job with the Chicago Fire, and that's going to be one of the storylines going into that one, obviously, and seeing how he could do with back it's basically a step down for him because
You're
he's
right.
going into MLS.
I know. By the way, they're in the middle of the pack just as early. This is about a fourth away. 3-2-3, 12 point tied with Orlando and the New York City Red Bulls.
So obviously, like
Yeah.
everybody says, long way to
you're
go
right,
on
you're
that
right.
one. So
and by the way, if you have Apple TV Plus and if you want to scout at them, they're playing. They're playing. Wait a minute. Let me get. Okay, hold on.
are they playing any games on Fox? By the way,
No, I don't think so.
of course not, because you can't see these games.
They're playing home crowd against FC Cincinnati tonight. Then the 26th, Nashville City and Orlando City at Soldier Field, May 3rd. That's all the scouting you want. You know what I mean?
I'll scout them via Mom because I don't have Apple TV Plus.
Okay. And speaking of which, the winner of this one will face on Rhode Island FC against the New England Revolution.
On the road as well, because as it turns out, Detroit City, if Detroit does end up winning that game, they were picked fourth in that pool, so no chance of hosting a
the draw. If you saw the drawing on Morning Footy on the Golasso Network, they pick the first two teams, and whoever win that game between New England and will host them. So we may go to Center Bank Stadium. That's the new name of the arena in Rhode Island, or Golasso Stadium, or maybe another stadium. Because
I don't know how that's going to work. They might end up playing in Gillette Stadium, but I think they got a deal going where we ended up playing SeatGeek Stadium. Usually Chicago Fire plays their games over at Soldier Field in Chicago.
Yeah, and remember, it was billed for them when they did, but then a few years ago they abandoned it. Now go back to Soldier Field in Chicago.
Yeah, so
home of our division rivals, the Chicago Bears. And who could be a contender to our North
channeling? Well, I'm not going to say it because we're doing a little media thing, but I've done it on my social media too. I'm channeling Andy Isaac, God rest your soul. With his, he was always FTB when it came to the Bears. So
it's understandable. But it's YouTube, so we can't say it.
Yeah, exactly.
God bless you, Andy. It's Saturday, man.
It's always Saturday.
Yeah, you're right.
It's always Saturday.
Let's go back to the Open Cup because a lot of the games on Wednesday ended in extra time, by the way.
Wednesday night was a wild night. I shared it on Around the Sea. Tampa Bay moving on in penalty kicks. Las Vegas
9-8 in penalty kicks. How embarrassing if they lost in penalty kicks. The nightmare would continue.
Oh my God. Let's see here.
The nightmare would continue. Going to FOBMOB.
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah,
I'm
going there. So yeah. All right. So let's see. Ours was a 3-1 game. Yeah. That went to penalty kicks. Indy 11 in extra time beat Miami FC 1-0. Phoenix Rising moves on in penalty kicks against SC Tulsa.
Colorado Springs won in extra time against Knoxville FC.
And then El Paso moves on in penalty kicks against New Mexico United.
One of the top teams in the West.
And then rest in peace, El Farolito.
I know.
They lose early on against the Sacramento Republic.
1-0.
Yep, 1-0.
23rd minute goal.
Yep.
But we salute you, El Farolito.
Yes, the only team.
Yes.
The furthest team
from the Open
division to move on to the round 4 of the U.S. Open. Round 3 of the U.S. Open Cup.
Well, you represent us well, El Farolito. We salute you.
Yes, you represent all of lower league soccer.
Well, I know.
So, and they knocked out. And I think they knocked out the Oakland Roots.
Yes,
I believe.
Yes, Oakland Roots. Yeah.
Yes, in the process.
And by the way, if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, you have to visit the El Farolito Texas stand. Maybe.
Yeah.
I
hear they have, and visit their trophy room. From what I understand,
I see
their trophy room. I mean, you think the clubhouse has a nice trophy room? Oh my God. It's small compared to what it is at El Farolito. They shared it on the broadcast the other night.
I got one question. If we win more trophies, then we have to order a bigger trophy room. You know what I mean?
Bigger trophy case or whatever
Probably
it is. So we're counting on you, USLW squad.
It's a little bit small, though. We'll have to add the ASLW runner-up trophy.
Oh God, where are we going to have room for that thing?
I don't think we need a bigger
big.
It's
pretty big.
I know. Well, it's not big like the big championship trophy,
right?
The Chihuahua Savage won.
Yeah.
You know.
And oh, by the way, Chihuahua Savage taking on San Diego Sockers tomorrow night on Golazo Network for the MASL professional.
Yes, the men's
title.
league. Yes,
the men's professional Division I championship.
I know.
So San Diego is leading that series, but should Chihuahua win game 2, they will settle it in like a 30-minute
extra game,
a la the old NASL back in the 70s, 30-minute mini game to decide it all. So, love these 2 leg ties, by the way.
How about weird is that you're going to go for a regular game and then play overtime, and if the team win game 2 and tied 1-1, you have to play an extra 30 minutes
and if it doesn't decide it, then they go to penalty kicks or something.
Well, there will be one tire botch. I don't think it never happened in soccer. Back then before.
Well, modern day, it's called the 2-legged tie.
I know.
If you're tied after two legs, then you play a 30-minute. You for 30 minutes of extra time. And if you're tied after that, then you go to the penalty.
And I would presume the players would be wiped out and tired by then.
Oh, absolutely. And they do shifts in that league.
You're right. And don't forget, back in the 60s, in the only season of the United Soccer Association after the 66 World Cup in England, I saw a video of it, the championship final, which was narrated by the late Chick Hearns. They went for an extra 30 minutes as well, but they didn't have penalty kick then. It is... as long you continue, that's it.
The golden goal.
Yes. But
golden goal.
But you don't want to kill the players for 4 hours, so this is the best example.
Exactly.
I know.
Okay, we don't want to go too long. So we're going a little bit over. Let's get into the picks, of course.
Okay, here we go.
This guy's up to 18 following Wednesday night's win. I moved up to 12.
Yeah.
Thanks to the win on Wednesday night. How do you see this one?
I'm going to say 2-1. Detroit City.
2-1 Detroit City.
And the Rhode Island goal, and you go back to happening hobo. I remember when we first faced on Louisville, Oberno played in Louisville, and he wanted a goal at their Louisville Stadium. So guess what? He got a goal at the Louisville Stadium, but we didn't win the game 2-1. So I'm going to say 2-1. And then guess what? I'm going to say the only goal for Rhode Island will be Maxi.
Maxi with the only goal for Rhode Island. Who do you think Detroit's going to?
I would say Darren Smith. He got the hot foot right now. It could be another player. Who knows? So should be fun.
Should be fun. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm paralleling you a little bit. Detroit, I mean, they're starting to find their legs again after that carrying the momentum in. And even though most of the goals came in the second half again this past Wednesday against Westchester.
Yeah.
I'm thinking myself that Detroit will just continue on keeping on. And I think against a struggling Rhode Island side, I see 2-1 as well.
Yeah.
I don't see Maxi as a goal scorer.
Okay.
He hasn't scored a goal yet all year. If he gets, and if he does, it will be his first of the year.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Holstead will strike again for them, and that'll be their only goal.
Okay.
But I think Detroit's going to find their way again to win it, and we'll see what the lineup looks like. We'll look for that on the various socials, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Facebook.
We will meet in the West Grandstand for the
lineups,
news,
which will come up hour before kickoff here.
Okay.
And I'm thinking Detroit. Let's see. Ben's got to get one.
Yes, Ben Morris got to get one.
Ben Morris has got to get one.
He's due.
And I still feeling Darren Smith.
Oh, yes.
Darren Smith is blossomed himself to become one of the better, one of the top goal scorers in the league. Coming from Finland into here. So it's not necessarily trying to find somebody in the championship. You can find people abroad to get the job done. So
well, that's it. We went too long, but we'll have to tell you where you can see it. It's back to our normal local rules today. CW Detroit 50, 4 o'clock. If you're not near a TV and if you have a Red Brother or a PC, CBSDetroit.com. Go to the watch live. You get that. Or if you're on the CBS News app, just click on CBS News app, press local, press CBS News Detroit, and when you see the watch live, it's okay. And by the way, it's for people in Michigan. Sorry, Ohio, you have to rely on a strong antenna. And it's on ESPN Plus.
I was going to say, did you mention ESPN
yes,
Plus?
I do. Yes, ESPN
Neil
Plus.
Rule, John Krieger on the call for today's game. The legendary Neil Rule, of course.
Yes, Neil Rule.
Of DCFC, Oakland University, sometimes Detroit Pistons. Speaking of Detroit Pistons.
New York and Knicks,
Yes, right after we're done here. Game one of that series between the Knicks and the Pistons.
You're going to have to do a lot of time management between TV and phone or whatever because when game one's still going
I got a lot.
There's WrestleMania tonight.
Oh yes, exactly.
Right.
That's on Peacock as well. Plus, there's some, couple good USL Super League games going on Peacock as well as they wind down their season. Into
their
the playoffs.
Season,
So check out that women's soccer there. So.
I think we're going along. I think we're going to go to the New Dodge to celebrate before the season, the game starts. Excuse me.
Yes, absolutely.
My brain is freezing. I mean, sorry. Okay, let's wrap it up.
All right, we're wrapping it up here. We'll see you after hours from the pitch. Until then, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the galaxy.